Hello, my beautiful board gaming rays of sunshine. I am in the last rays of sunshine here, and we are going to get to Crowdfunding Countdown. We're going to take a look at every single board game campaign, finishing up in this next week as I slam on the table to get all of my emotions out for not being here on Monday or even Tuesday. It is Wednesday, but we're going to get into it. Thank you for giving me the briefest of reprieves, and I am back. I am back to tantalize your earlobes with all the board gaming madness you could ever desire. But before we get into the week, I want to give a huge shout out to all the people who signed up for Patreon or gave one-time donations in the past little bit in between since I've been filming. I've been getting quite a few notifications, so I want to give you all a shout out and say thank you so much for supporting the channel and appreciating what I do, and I just love you all. You're the friggin' best. And you know who you are. You know exactly who you are when I say that, and I'm about to tell you who you are. So huge shout out goes to Cody, Ganesh, TB, Kim X, Levi, Mike, and Hillary. Thank you so much for jumping on board, supporting the channel. Seriously, you're all the friggin' best. It really means a heck of a lot. And I am so appreciative, and thanks for being here. Thanks for letting me take a few days off of this job so I could work on my other jobs, or neglect them by doing other things. Well, we're back now, and we're ready to roll, and let's get into the week. Starting off, I just missed the countdown. It was counting down the final seconds. That'll tell you when I'm filming this. Pandora Celeste went over to Kickstarter to see if they could pick up a few extra stretch goals, which is cool. So they raised an extra £3,000. It's like $5,000 Canadian. And this is just a little late pledge extension to see what sort of audience they could pick up over on Kickstarter. And I think that's interesting that they picked up, 36 backers. That's not that bad. I think they did around 36,000 to 40,000 pounds over on GameFound. And so just in terms of a little marker of how does Kickstarter pick up pledges, especially in that sort of indie sphere, how extending a campaign a little bit might help your funding goals and help them get more money. I don't know. We'll see how that translates into the late pledge as well, because generally late pledges, when they're open, will pick up like 50%. That's what I've heard on the street. Yeah, Pandora Celeste was fun. I had a playthrough on it. If you missed it, it's on the channel. That's not me. That's not me. That's me. With my good friend Zach. Me in shock and awe, Zach betrays me. Once more. But yeah, so you can check that out. But it's already finished twice, and if I had filmed this yesterday, well then maybe this would have been more relevant. But let's go on and let's talk about Golden Grog. Golden Grog, Maritime Merchants, a 45-minute pirate plundering and trading board game for ages 10 and up. I like the Maritimes and the people in it, so let's see. Alright, this seems simple enough. Essentially, there's going to be a big old pile of cards in the middle, and you pull from those cards hoping to get treasure. You might get some enemies, and if you pull enemies, you have to be able to defeat those enemies. So a little push your luck game about diving for treasure and not getting killed by enemies. And then there's a little Merchants expansion where you can trade some money for one-time powers. This is a very funny thing that says $7 of shipping is included in the $25 price of the pledge. So why not just call it $18? Because generally it'll cost $7 of shipping. Shipping is included in the price of the pledge. For the global Golden Grog base game, that's not something that you want to do. That's probably a bad idea. But I mean, 33, 45, there you go. They're making it accessible. I just worry that they will lose a lot of money. $18 plus $15 in shipping. So they've then charged it as $25, and then you have an additional $8 on in shipping. Not quite sure what this pricing model is, but at least they're open with it, even if it seems ridiculous. Wow, there won't be late pledges, so this will finish basically today, and the order will be placed September 6th. So, better get it quick if you're interested in that. Just a little push your luck game. I think probably too expensive, but I'm so confused about these shipping prices that maybe it's a good deal. Who knows? That finishes today, Wednesday, September 4th at 1 p.m. Man, oh man, I can't believe it's already September 4th. We're moving along to No Escape, Dead Man's Tale, Beyond the Horizon, Beneath the Sand, a cursed treasure waits to be found. No Escape, the puzzle escape experience like no other. Grab your Keira Knightleys and your Captain Barbosas, and get ready for an adventure to tickle your doubloons. I think. Let's see. With any luck, we'll see Filthy John pop up in here. Yargle, bargle, bargle. I don't have a picture of him. I should probably go get a picture of him. Filthy John. Oh, Filthy.
Burgly, burgly, yargle,
I knew you'd be here, Filthy.
Burgly,
Has it been ages since a new character was added to the roster?
Yargly, burgle, a pirate's life
Well,
for me.
a pirate's life for us all, good Filthy.
Oh,
a pirate's
swab
life
the
for
deck
us all.
and get those mud all
let's check
over
it.
ya. The sea mud.
All right, so this is another escape room from the Mysterious Package Company, which is based in Toronto, Ontario. That's cool. That's where I am sometimes. This is another apparently premium pop-up puzzle adventure, and these things are hard to analyze, right? Like, they're hard to get a sense of. I remember this one popping up. Seems like things have been delivered. All in all, I was very impressed. My only major issue is that autopsy-related puzzles felt too abstract. Girlfriend and I played it last weekend, had a lot of fun with it, 3 to 4 hours total. Some guesswork was involved in the end. In theory, it could be regifted to a friend, although doing the act of the autopsy would be a little underwhelming on regifting, I'd imagine. Got to play this today. It was fun. The actual autopsy was a bit hard to perform, so there's a little autopsy thing that they were trying to make work. Apparently that didn't really work, but enough people have enjoyed it. Like, it seems like people are happy with it. Oh, wait, I take it back. This is a major disappointment. The part of the game that's the most tactile, the body itself, isn't an intuitive CSI-style murder. Instead, it contains several vague forensically themed puzzles that give largely unrelated data points for a whodunit-style investigation. But this review is a lot of fun. So, I mean, generally, one person didn't like it, but, you know, the other people were moved to comment on it. I think that's important to know for their previous murder mystery fare. 1 to 2 players, as you immerse yourself in 5 unique pop-up chapters, put you in the center of a treacherous quest, a pirate's quest. Delve into a trove of immersive documents and experience the story through a unique lens of facsimile narrative artifacts. Follow in the footsteps of an ill-fated treasure hunter as you scour personal correspondence, newspaper journals, and more. Uncover clues, solve puzzles, follow a map to unearth lost treasure. Cursed be damned! Cursed be damned. Shows kind of the puzzle contents, a lot of just paper quality stuff. I don't know. How much are you? I know it's expensive. $70 Canadian. I mean, you can get an unlock or 3 unlocks for like $40. Shipping will be charged after the campaign as well. Shipping being $12 Canadian. So like $82 for this, plus a tax as well, so $90. Because I forgot to add tax to my group buy for How to Save a World. And then I said to everyone, okay, please give me the tax so I don't have to pay it all. Yeah, there you go. I think decent reviews. It seems a bit expensive for my purposes. I still have like a couple escape games that I bought on a whim that I just haven't completed. I think there are a lot of mass market escape games like the Unlock series or the Exit or the Escape the Room series that do a similar thing, and they're a bit cheaper, but this raised a ton of money. And maybe people are really loving it, and maybe this company's esteem is just going up and up. So decent reviews from the first one. If you're interested in that, feel free to check that out. That finishes Thursday, September 5th at 10:59 p.m. Moving along, oh boy, Leviathan Wilds second printing, plus Deepvale expansion. Leviathan Wilds is a solo and co-op boss battling board game about climbing and saving massive creatures, created by former Fantasy Flight Games and Z-Man Games developers. I remember Leviathan Wilds, great. I was like, oh no, I'm gonna have to relearn this, or learn this, but I think I already learned it, where you're gonna be climbing up just these giant things. Climb together, save Leviathans, that's all it is. I remember when it first came out, I wasn't overwhelmed by it. I remember there being a lot of hype around it when it was first on Kickstarter. I mean, there always is, because that's marketing. But, yeah, I don't know how I felt about this one, but we're going to find out together if that has changed or not. All right, so past Chris in episode 92 said that it looked, fine. I don't know if the depth of complexity is going to be that deep. But essentially, you're climbing up these Leviathans that they try to punch themselves in the face so that they punch you as well. Each of these maps will have a different special rule of how you climb up the Leviathans and scale them. I mean, it seems fun, it seems cute. And you take a character, you take a class, and you smash them all together. As I recall, the action seems pretty easy. It's only 13 pages of a rulebook, and you're trying to get action points which allow you to do things like scale, dodge, etc. But what are they adding on? So an all-in returning backers, all-in new backers, 110. The Founders Edition, 65. Okay, so it's only gone up $6 since 2023. That seems like a reasonable uptick. $6 US. It'd be $90 Canadian for me. New content will just be new Leviathans, new ways to shake up your game. Of course, everyone's going with the all-in. It's so wild to me. I guess not. I guess people didn't get the full thing and they upsell themselves. So wild. Okay, no. Or maybe just, Shut Up and Sit Down has made a review that says so good on it. And that's all that people need. And No Pun Included seemed to love it as well. And it got Seal of Excellence from the Dice Tower. So a lot of reviewers seem to have been enjoying this. Sure, seems cool. I really like the theme and I like the art direction for sure. And I think you probably will feel that thematic element of jumping around this Leviathan and feeling cool that you're just scaling this big beastie. So there's that. I don't know. It seems fun enough. Is it something I want to pay $100, $200 on a whim? No. Is it something I want to pay $100 on a whim? No. It just isn't that for me as of yet. Shipping is $19 to get to Canada, $12 to $15 for the US. So in that range, that seems, reasonable and correct. But it's raised a heck of a lot of money, and that finishes on the 5th at 5 p.m. It's raised $645,000 US. So yeah, I don't know. I think it looks okay, But a lot of people are saying that it's quite good. So check out those reviews instead and make that decision based off of that. Next up, we've got Rival Restaurants, SPORKS out. The reprint and the expansion, a board game about competitive restaurant owning. Use your chef's power, cook recipes, and lead your restaurants to gastronomical glory. Let's check this one out. All right, this seems cute enough. I've heard really good things about Rival Restaurants. I think the concept feels pretty fun, and this is just the second expansion, and you can get a reprint with Rival Restaurants as well. I just want to see if it's available at my local store. Yeah, gap closer, so 54 Canadian to get this. It's sold out at 401 though. Rival Restaurants, they have 3 in stock at Board Game Bliss, so I can get it for $60 Canadian. And what if I just want the base game? I can get it for $80 Canadian. I mean, why would I do this? I want to be the wiener. Of course, I've known some great wieners in my day. There can only be one wiener here. And of course, I would want to be that wiener. Or at least hold that wiener in my arms. At least be wiener adjacent, is what I'm saying. I want to be part of the wiener's business. I want to be all up in that wiener's business. And be a core team member of the wiener. I don't know how much more clear I can make that in Rival Restaurants, you compete to be the wiener. I do like the real-time nature of this, and I hope that they have a rulebook here to kind of run through. But here's how you play. You get some money. You can resolve some chef powers. And then finally you buy and you barter and use action cards. And cook stuff. Okay. Rulebooks down here. Okay, great. Base game rulebook. Because I want to know how the real-time element actually works in this game. I've heard that it exists, but I'm not quite sure about it. Man, it is hard to focus today. My mind keeps wandering, and it's just getting later and later. Okay, so the real-time element is just buying and bartering. When you go to a market, you go to the place that you're in, you can buy as much stuff as you want, but you only get 1 minute, and you can barter, you can trade anything with people, but you only get 1 minute. You always have to have a basic and a gourmet recipe at a time, and the movement wheel, this sort of shows you lock in where you are going, and then you reveal it. So you choose where you're going, and then you have a kind of frantic bartering action, and then you go to the non-timed where you get recipes, you get to cook them. The one that I'm thinking of that is more real time, that's more like Overcooked, is Kitchen Rush. And so I always kind of get these confused between the two, but it seems like a fun enough little game. I just don't know why you would get it here. It seems to be in wider distribution, and unless you're getting the deluxe, like these 8 people, don't do it. But if you want to get the deluxe of everything, well, you can do it over here. Shipping would be $15, $25 to Canada, right? I could pay $105 for this on Kickstarter if I just get this base retail game, or I could get it at Board Game Bliss for half of that. Always check your stores, especially in the reprints. But if you're interested in that finishes Friday, September 6th at 1 a.m. That's too bad. Moving along, we were going to talk about Shuffle Dungeons, the co-op board game of endless dungeons. But unfortunately, this has an endless $1 pre-pledge, thanks to Vault Boy's exceptional list and bookkeeping. Although this one is lesser, I find, because it's free card sleeves. It's not like a gameplay thing. Some people don't even like card sleeves, and only the real sort of heavy board gamers who are going to be really into it will want to protect those. I don't know. I don't use card sleeves, so I just assume anyone who does must be wildly more excessive about this hobby than I am. It doesn't matter. We've made a commitment on this channel not to cover anything that does a $1 pre-pledge, so no free marketing for you, and this is just your point out to not look at it if you were considering it. That made sense. Let's check out this one. We've got Zombie Horde, 32mm tactical co-op. Assemble a crew of survivors and endure the aftermath of a zombie apocalypse together. Let's see what this one is all about. Oh, this seems kind of fun. I mean, the premise does, because the zombies are cool. What have you done before, Dark Gate Games? I have not heard of you. Ancient Blood, the Order of the Vampire Hunters. Okay, that one did look fun too. The Pledge Manager is still open though, so haven't delivered. But I do remember the Vampire Hunters running around. Yeah, that one seemed all right. In this one, there's a bunch of different scenarios that you're going to play. The exploration phase, which is the scenario, and then the colony phase, where you have to manage a specific task, which I guess we'll check out in the rule book. 109, that kind of makes sense. Zombie core box, boss expansion, freebies box. Oh, and then a bunch of different zombie things that you can get. Obviously, the minis on this do look pretty fun. Fixers, farmers, signal corps, sentinels. Ooh, the jumpers, look at them, that's cool. The runners, the entire football team, just zombified. The grunts, the screamers, the chained, the large horde. Yeah, okay, I love these minis, they're really cool. But is the game cool? That's what we want. We want the beta rulebook, like me, but in rulebook form. Well, this isn't loading whatsoever, which is a big disappointment, and I've tried it on multiple internet connections, both hotspotting my phone and the internet in the country where I'm at right now. The country being Canada, but also in the country outside Nova Scotia and Musquedominut. So that's a bummer. Yeah, and I'm still able to do things in the other way, so that's a bit disappointing. Oh, and here's all the other stuff that they did. Medmorphosis, that was the last one. Dark Rituals, soundtrack. Okay, so you're really bolstering the table here, being like, look, we did all these projects. Well, no, you did 2. You did 2 and then 2 soundtracks and then 1 more. But even still, you know, shipping to the EU 28 to 35, USA 30 to 38, Canada 35 to 38. That doesn't surprise me. That actually feels, I mean, it's expensive, right? But it makes sense. But it also turns this Horde pledge, which was $109, into actually like $149, you know, because it could be $39. And so because of that, it's like a $200 game, which seems to be the standard going rate now for a big minis-centric game. I'm really bummed that there isn't this beta rulebook down, because I wanted to know. Oh, look at that, it loaded. Oh, that's great. Just took a million years to load these 76 pages, which we absolutely are not going to look at, but we're going to look at a few of them, because I want to see the difference between these phases, essentially. The colony, every colony faction has their own colony sheet. You can distribute survivors to grow resources, so it's a little like upkeep phase management game. Basically just allocating resources, it seems. So if you really want a pretty in-depth, like, simulation, this feels like it might hit the mark. I don't know how fun it'll be, but if that sort of thing is something that you enjoy, well, then maybe it will be fun for you. The colony phase seems like the most realistic implementation of a colony phase in a zombie apocalypse that I've seen. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know, but enjoy making bullets and counting the bullets as you fight. Which I think is an interesting sort of resource management. Enjoy not having electricity or deciding who gets electricity or deciding how you farm and what you make. It's all this sort of complexity assigned to it. And I don't really know if that'll make a good game or not. But that's all the time I'm spending on it because I'm exhausted. And so that finishes at 4 p.m. on the 6th. Speaking of 4 p.m. on the 6th, well, just 2 hours later, we have Runar, The Last Chance. Guide your Viking heroes through frozen lands, defeat powerful enemies and opposing heroes. The hunt for the runic gems has just begun. This is Runar coming over onto GameFound, I assume, because it was on Kickstarter. Again, let's check our trusty sheet. Way back in episode 71, it was over on Kickstarter, back when I was doing Christmas Carol. But before, I had the mutton chops. Yep, that makes sense. So this is The Last Chance, basically. December 5th, 2022 was when people pledged for this, and now you can get it again when it's closer to fulfilling. It's raised $100,000, so that's pretty good. Let's see if it increased in price. It probably did. Core pledge, $115. Ugh, it was like $99, I think. You do not have to play the whole pledge at once. Well, you should want to, if it's good enough. I described it last time as Tiny Epic Mythic Pantheon, which I agree. It's just kind of running around trying to get as many gems as you can. I didn't think it was worth its price point then, nor do I think it's earned its price point in this Last Chance. But if you want to hear more about it, we'll go back and watch episode 71 of Crowdfunding Countdown. That finishes at 6 p.m., but this is your last chance to get it. Speaking of things that have already been around, Tir na Nog, reprint, expansion, and more. Enter the Celtic world, or Celtic world, if you're nasty, of Otherworld of Tir na Nog, encounter otherworldly denizens, then return to become the greatest storyteller of them all. This one, again, the art looks beautiful. This, I think, was on GameFound first, and then is on Kickstarter, so we go back and forth. The art looks really beautiful, but the gameplay itself, I remember this one specifically feeling pretty lacking as well in this tableau building game as you're collecting cards. Oh, they're excited. They're announcing the reprint of Tir na Nog. This Gen Con saw the very first time we had a line at the booth clamoring for our newest title. So, okay, that's nice. Because I remember there was this grid, and where you place your things around the grid indicates the cards that you can get, and you can block people out. Yeah, kind of similar to Spirium. You place your people next to or adjacent to edges of cards and try to win the cards in that way. And then you select cards in order to create a tableau, moving around the colors and the numbers. That's it, right? Like it's not a huge, the theme of this is essentially non-existent. It's just a little card tableau building game, and that's fine, but it's still $53 Canadian, and then plus shipping, $9 to China, $13 to Australia, and places in the EU, $17 to Canada. So yeah, $9 shipping to the US, $17 to Canada. It's like an $80 game for a card tableau building game that just it seems fine, you know? I personally don't know, have no interest in it. Seeing this come up, I was like, great, that'll be a little bit of an easy segment for me because I already know that it's just fine. But if you are really excited about it and you want to get some expansion and additional cards to probably do the same thing, well, check it out. That finishes Friday, September 6th at 7 p.m. We're going to keep on moving. Something I am quite excited to check out. 23 Knives, a game of social manipulation in ancient Rome. A 3 to 8-player game of shifting allegiances. Decide Caesar's fate in an intense, straggedy game of intrigue and betrayal in ancient Rome. Which side of history will you be on? I'll be on the side that does the stabbing. This seems fun. You want to stab Caesar 23 times in order to win. If you only stab him 20 times, well, Caesar is a resilient bastard, and he'll get up and he'll walk away, and he'll say, shame on you for stabbing me. Who here was loyal to me? And whoever was the most loyal will be like, yo, it was me, and he'll be like, you win. But if you stab him more than 23 times, then then you win. As long as you stab Caesar the most. You're like, listen, I have the most blood on my hands. I am a big brother head of household. I am the wiener, which, as we learned in rival restaurants, we desperately, desperately want to be. Or just be around. Either or. What I'm not interested in, I need to read this in the rulebook, is, or you can be the midway person who, if you throw doves at Caesar, you actually take away some of Caesar's wounds. I guess you just cram the doves into Caesar's body. That's how I'm interpreting it thematically. because you have these certain cards, right? These dove cards, you have these knife cards. Knife cards mean you stab Caesar. Dove cards mean you fill up the wound with a dove, and that's how peace on Earth is achieved. I assume that's how it works. But there's one faction where if you turn the tide right at the last moment, then you win. And that one, I don't know. I don't mind difficult third-party factions, but that just feels like it might be tough. I do like that you can change your allegiance, though. So, let's see. This feels very Veiled Fate-esque, and I'm into it. First, you have to move to a different location. You play up to 2 Fate cards, Veiled Fate cards, into the forum and or call a vote to exile another citizen. Okay. And they all do different stuff in the spots. Sweet. Sway, you can sway a player in the same location by swaying them, by playing a sway card. And then you resolve some issues. That's probably a good thing to do. Or you could bottle them up entirely and never address them. Both, I think, pretty valid ways of living. But at least you get to choose which issue you're going to talk about. Read the rulebook. I would love it. I do like that you can reveal yourself to get an ability, but then you've revealed your hand. Okay, and you can get sway cards, which if the blood outweighs your laurels, then you suddenly become bloody. You've been turned over to the tide. And this is also how you win. If you have the most blood in front of you, and Caesar dies, you win the game. If you don't, that's a really fun little balance of choosing how that sway will happen, right? Like, you want to get people onto your side. You want to say, hey, help us kill Caesar. But if they stab Caesar more than you, then you can't get the good blood. Interesting. And when you reveal your character card, you can be like, listen, I'm a loyalist, but you've been swayed with a bajillion amount of blood. Yeah. And so it's all about shifting everybody's allegiances and then trying to murder Caesar. And then finally, all the opportunists act may play any number of fate cards from their hands. If they can change the fate of Caesar, they win as a team. I don't know if I like that as an idea, but they can maybe only sway it with all their doves by stuffing them into Caesar's wounds. So I don't know. I'm willing to give it a pass, give it a try. I don't think I like that aspect of it, but I think there's a lot of the game that does seem pretty cool. $35, $48 Canadian, sweet. And then shipping would be $14 to the US, $15 to Canada. So you're looking at, $50 US for this game, $70 Canadian for this game. I like social deduction as much as the rest. The other person, $70 feels a bit steep, but if you really like Veiled Fate or wanted to get into Veiled Fate, I feel like this could give a similar vibe. And that's a pretty huge compliment because I'm a big fan of Veiled Fate. So I think this does look pretty good. I just think maybe too expensive for like component-wise what it is once you factor in shipping. Again, like 35 is a great price. If you can go to a store, get this for 35, done deal. I think great, right? But because you have to factor it in and I have to factor conversion in, that's why I say what I say. But that finishes Friday, September 6th at 8:30 p.m. If you are interested, as I get closer and closer to the camera. Let's move along to a few more, to Octopushy, like that James Bond film, Octopushy. Oh no, sorry, just Octopush. Adorable octopi collide in a competitive tabletop experience. I think somebody just wants me to spew octopus facts, but they're all gone from my head because that show is over. Well, that video is like somebody only paid for 30 seconds of an AI-generated song, and then just moved pieces around with no rhyme or reason. But you're going to control the team of colorful octopi, each vying to reach the other side of the board while pushing your opponents out of the way or off the edge entirely. Every move counts as you navigate swirling currents and dodge deadly holes. Oh, modular board, okay. Oh, there's little arrows on it. All right, I see. And then you play cards where you can use these abilities as well. And I'm assuming where you land, you'll get pushed into a certain tide based upon how the board is laid out. You really just want to get to the other side of the board. You get 5 points for that. Kind of reminds me of an abstract game that was in the Lemery game 4-pack. Oh, I forget what it's called now. It wasn't the Korean game. Jumbo, that's what I'm thinking of. Players play 2 cards from their hand to move a single octopon, pushing the other octopons as they go. Arrow tiles will push octopons around further, and hold tiles will swallow them off the board entirely. Yeah, that seems pretty self-explanatory. $20. I mean, those octopuses look pretty fun. Oh, but that's the STL from a laser cutter. Physical copy is $40. If they reach $8,888, they can actually print it. Otherwise, they're going to make it handmade. I think that's kind of fun. I think that's great that they're like, listen, we need this amount to actually get it printed. If not, we will make it, and it'll take the time that it takes. I think that's pretty reasonable, actually. Kind of like that. Again, too expensive for what it is, especially $30 to get to me in Canada, so it'd be 70, like almost $100 for this game. But looks cute enough. And if you like those sort of spatial abstract puzzles, well, yeah, check it out. It finishes Monday, September 9th at 3:01 a.m. All right, let's check this one out. We've got Panda Spin. Play cards to win tricks or lose tricks to get better cards into your hand. All right, a quick, cheap game. Well, $24 Canadian. Panda Spin is based off of the card game Chu.E, which is a Chinese card game. $18 US. If you win a trick, you discard the cards you played, but if you lose a trick, you can take the card back and rotate it so it can be a better card. So in order to collect more points, it can be useful to lose a trick from time to time so that you can time out when you lose your trick. That could be some interesting trick taking. Really going back and forth between, hey, are we all playing our threes at this time? And that could be some excitement into your life. Let's see the rule book. It's nice that they have one. Although for like simple card games, generally would give it a pass. Eight pages. I want to see how you get points, like how the bamboo points are actually earned. Each bamboo symbol you play lets you take 1 point from the supply. It's pretty easy. Okay, these elements just are player count. I kind of hate that when they're, I don't know. I guess it gives some thematic way to break up different cards and gives a little bit more replayability in terms of how they interact, but the cards kind of feel like they would be similar. You know what I mean? Like, it says you have 5 elements, like fire, metal, water, earth, and wood, but really they're just suits, and then you only play with a certain suit. 1 suit per player, you know? So you play it in terms of combinations. I assume combinations are sets or runs. Single, set, run, formation, bomb. Set, 2 or more values, run. Yep, formation is a set of runs, okay. And then a bomb is 4 identical values where no water symbols can be used. And it's true, they have, when they get flipped around, they get more numbers on them. Yeah, I don't know. I think it just seems fine. It's not something that I'm like super interested in, especially because shipping in Canada is like $16 and it's like $50 for a card game when I could just play Chu.E, you know? But yeah, it doesn't seem bad. That finishes Tuesday, September 10th at 12 p.m. Moving along, we have Alien Frenzy. Earth is their planet now. Can you survive a frantic alien invasion in this addictive card game? I don't know. I'm gonna try. I hope I can. Yeah, I hope I can survive. When the aliens invade, I do hope I can survive. I know that they're just gonna exterminate humanity in general because we're not really worth it. But maybe I could, you know, be a little servant on their ship and work my way up. Barter for some of my loved ones. I don't know. Hope these aliens are nice. I mean, Lodo seems pretty nice. Look at that smile. All right, seems pretty simple. You're going to have a hand of cards. They all have different colors on them. If a color is up in the middle of the deck, you can play a card on that card that matches the color to do a ability. It's like Uno and Exploding Kittens had an alien baby. Yep, that seems like a decent descriptor. 39 Canadian, 39 Australian, 36 Canadian. No, not for me. I mean, it seems, you know, if you wanted Uno, I just don't, like, after shipping, it's $12 Australian or $8 US. For me, it'd be $16 Australian. So it'd be like $50 Canadian to get this game. And for the amount of like really great games that are out there for $50, I just don't see what this adds, what this exists to give this excitement. Like, you're attacked by a blue alien, play 1 character card. So you're going to have to play a character card no matter what. And hopefully you have a blue card. And if you have a blue card, you get to do something. But you're just going to hold on to your cards until these aliens come up. And if they don't come up in the right way, you lose. And yeah, I bet I could play it. And I bet it would be fine. I bet I could play it with people who don't really like games. And who aren't really that into games. But I am more into games than this, let's just say. So unfortunately, that's not for me, but maybe it's for you. That finishes Tuesday, September 10th at 7:01 p.m. And finally, we've reached the end. We have Norsemen, which, looking at these little wooden houses, means it's going to be my favorite of the week. Sail the world, settle down, and let your tribe prosper. This fascinating new Euro-style game in the Viking world. Yeah! Euro gets me going. I love Euros. So let's see what this one's all about. Yeah, this one seems up my alley. The one thing that I liked from that video, and we're gonna check based upon the rules, but I love this little board where, very Terra Mystica-like, you are getting more resources the more things that you send out and uncover, and I really like that decision space. And especially if they vary too, which I would like to see if they do vary. It seems like they might vary, otherwise why would you put anything else further. I think you have to go from top to bottom, though, in order to increase them. 5 rounds spread into 3 ages of the Age of Vikings. 68 Canadian, too. 45 euros. That actually feels like it might be pretty nice. Okay, so you draw 1 card after another from your own exploration deck, and then you're going to make a choice every time you draw a card of when to put your ship on it to get resources or to send other people out into the territory, which will do something, and establish like your positioning in Sweden. Then you're going to place your Jarls to advance tokens on your player board or buy new exploration cards. So adding to that deck building aspect, or to move things up, because when you get them up here, then you get them. Finally, you're going to get income from your settlements. How did you get settlements? Probably by pushing them forward. Let your law speakers do their actions on the territories. Aha! So every territory can do a specific thing. I see. Because you've established it, and then you can establish that in the territory. Okay, that was pretty clear. But let's take a little look-see. Oh, all resources are available to you for each action. So it's very much like Seven Wonders. It's not like it just produces those one time. It produces those forever. Ah, interesting. So you don't get the resources here. You actually have to spend the resources to cross these bars. So in order to move up here, it costs you 2 wood, and then move there to there, it also costs you 2 wood. All right, I see. So you can put your ships down to get those resources, or you can then build forts or territories or settlements in specific spots. Forts allow you to put lawmakers, which will give you access to like the top location, and then settlements will give you territory bonuses and settlement income during their turn phase. So just multiple different ways you can put things down, and then you'll just go back and forth in terms of putting things out and building your own routes and getting exploration cards. It seems fun. I don't think it's going to blow anybody away. I think it's going to be a very solid 7.1 on Board Game Geek, but I think $68 Canadian is very reasonable for what you're getting. I think it's going to be a solid game. This is probably going to be the pick for me. US, Canada, 25 euro for shipping. Oh no. Do I change it? No, because we're based on, the game production value, and I think this is the most excited I've been all week. It still would cost me $100 Canadian, and I'm not that interested in that, but I think a decent shout. So that's it. That is it for the week. Let's go back here. On every week, I do a pick for me and a pick for you. The pick for me being the thing that I am the most interested in, and the pick for you being the thing I think if you get, you will be the least disappointed with. So let's go through a quick grunt down to remind ourselves of what's going on. I mean, reprint, but yeah. No. Meh. Yeah. I'd like get it at retail. Absolutely not. Yeah. No. No. Yeah. Nah. Meh. No. And yeah. Okay. I do have a pick for me and a pick for you. I think you know what it's gonna be. This is tough. You know what? I have 2 picks for me. I don't have any picks for you. I don't actually think these are good. And that you should get. I think you should wait till retail for both of them. I'm going to say the pick for me is Norsemen, though. I do think this looks fun. I think it'll just be simple and potentially forgettable. But still a pick for me, because I would want to try it. I would want to try this out of the most out of all of these. And I think the pick for you is 23 Knives, because I think it's got a good chance, if you're in that social deduction realm, of being enjoyable. Again, monitoring how much it is. I'm hesitant to make this a pick for you because I know some people in my Discord were asking about it, and that means that they are the most degenerate gamblers out there and need to be cut off, and I'm so afraid of ever saying pick for you. But I think this does look fun. I think the balance of swaying people back and forth could be an interesting balance. Kind of reminds me a bit of Coup Reformation, the 6 to 10 player expansion of Coup. In terms of feel, not in terms of execution, but in terms of how that might feel, in terms of swaying people's alliances to get them to do what you want. So yeah, I'll make it the pick for you. I think it looks fun. I have less of a time to make any sort of impact in the actual funding for any of these, but I don't think you should get any of these, I think it's a pick for me, and I think it's a pick for you, and I think they're both pretty decent games, and if you're really excited about them, then yeah, sure. But if you're not excited about them, then no, don't do it. But what I am excited about is you all being here. I'm excited to be back on your airwaves, providing new content with a new outlook on life, and staring deep into your soul, and saying I like you a lot. I appreciate you being here. So thank you so much for watching. My name is Chris George. Oh man, I don't have a catchphrase, and that's an embarrassing thing, but it is what it is. I can tell you it's as devastating for me as it is for you. but I'll see you in the next one.